Don't ever let anything discourage you. Always look at the brighter side of things. Hi guys, I'm Venus Rose. I am House of Creators, and you're tuning in to my artist spotlight with the New York Dose.
So, I would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so this is very hard to pinpoint because I do so much. However, let's start from the beginning to the present. First, I started off as a music artist, and I was in school at St. John's University, so I was majoring in broadcast journalism. So through college, I got into media, and you have to intern in college. So I ended up at the Source magazine, and I learned a lot about the music industry, and just working there inspired me to do more than just music. I wanted to get more into creative directing. Then I picked up styling, then produced video producing, content series and stuff like that. So now I'm at the point where I have a creative agency. So I just compiled all the content and the entire production team that I've been using since the Source days, and even with my music videos down to the designers and all the other stylists and creative people that I work with, and just put together this agency called House of Creators.
What's your hometown and what's your nationality?
So my hometown, I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. I was born and raised there. I left for college. That's like the first time I actually moved out of Virginia. I went to North Carolina A&T first, and then I transferred to St. John's. So here I am in New York. I've been here for 5 years. Nationality, I really can't say. I don't know. When you're from an area where I'm from, if you're brown, you're just black. People don't really look into like where we're from. It's very interesting. When I came to New York, I really love how people know their roots, and I wish I could say the same, but I mean, I don't know at all.
Ancestry, whatever that thing is,
Ancestry.com.
Ancestry.
Yeah. So is Ancestry.com reliable? Because a lot of people have said they just give you any type of information. I don't know. I don't know how to really find out. Like, if I could find out something that's 100%, I would definitely do it, because I feel kind of robbed that I don't know like where I'm from. I always wonder, and I really think it's dope people that really know. Like when I came to New York, it's like when I met people of my color and they would say, "Oh, I'm from Trinity, I'm Haitian, I'm Jamaican." And it's like, dang, like I wish I knew where I was from. Like,
interesting. Well, we're gonna find that out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
So, being that you to let us know that you have a creative agency, what is your main creative passion?
I would say my main creative passion is enhancing visions and sounds. I would just say enhancing art overall. What I initially wanted to do before I came to New York and pursued entertainment, music, and media, I wanted to manage artists and develop artists. So after I went through the process with myself, I learned so much, and then I was thinking everything I did for myself, I can actually do for other artists, and this is how I can get back into like what I originally wanted to do. So my agency, pretty much what we do is we enhance the images, the styles, and sounds of artists who are like rising and emerging, and sometimes mainstream already.
Nice. Okay, and how did you discover this talent of yours?
I discovered this talent just by doing it myself first. So from the beginning, I used to write music for my cousin. He was a music artist. He was the first person I've ever seen like in the basement freestyling. So I was writing songs for him. It really wasn't working out, and he looked at me. He was like, "Why you just don't do it?" So I did it, and then I heard myself, and I was like, "Wow! Like I didn't know I sang this. I like the way I sound. I'm going to record more." And like my music spread on campus. Then that inspired me to come to New York. So once I came to New York, and I really started pursuing the music and the image and doing all the fashion and modeling and all that type of stuff, I realized that I was producing everything around me. So I'm like, if I can pull together the right people, find locations for my video shoots, find designers, create the mood boards. Really, I was constructing everything and just finding the right people. And I'm just like, oh wow, like I actually have a talent of putting things together and enhancing things. So I'm going to do this for other artists. So that's how I discovered it within myself.
That's beautiful. I like that you made that
Thank
reflection
you.
for yourself. And who are you working close with now for future projects?
Well, right now, I mean, really, it's my team. Like I work with different labels and a lot of different musicians. I wouldn't say I work with any label or platform like consistently. It's like every other different project, but I'm always working on like my in-house projects. So if I would say close, who am I working closely with? I mean, I work with a variety of artists, and it's not so much like long term. It's like really in the image development part. So it's like it's so many artists. So it's like I wouldn't work with someone like, for an example, I did Rico Nasty's first album cover, her very first like big cover shoot. So she took that content and she really like enhanced and really became the Rico Nasty that's today. So it's like I was a part of her beginning journey, and it wasn't a long-term thing where I'm working with her every single month. Like she has evolved and has really found herself music-wise and style-wise, and I see she's doing a lot of stuff herself. So it's like that's what I like to do. I like to be there for the breakthrough point, and then I like to watch the artists develop and find themselves and really blossom. I'm not really the type of person that likes to attach myself to people. I like to work with people when it's needed, and I like to be involved with multiple artists and multiple platforms, multiple brands. I can't really focus on one thing. It really gives me anxiety. I would say, like it's just too much. I like to be involved and dip and dabble in a variety of things. So yeah, I can't really say who I'm working with most consistently because it's like a different handful of artists every month. So yeah, it's very fast paced.
Would you like to express what kind of artists is you like? Just drop some names out there for the people.
Yeah. Well, it's so many. Let's see where to start.
Can we name like 3 right now?
Okay. Well, 3 that I'm working with right now is Uno the Activist, Trill Sammy, Sauce Waka. And they're emerging artists. They've been doing music for a while, but I would say they're still in the emerging point where they're still building their brand and platform. They're really independent right now. Uno's signed to Republic, but he's still kind of like he hasn't really done that. I haven't seen the big label stamp when they really put the full machine behind the artist and they're like just promoting the label and the artist. Right now, he's been doing a lot of touring. Sauce Walker's independent, and from my understanding, Trill Sammy's is independent. I like to work with independent artists, but I also like to work with label artists. But right now, yeah, they're the 3 focus right now because I'm doing a campaign with them next week for Carl Kanai at the BET Experience. So that's who's on my mind right now, and I also have a photo shoot with Sauce Walker Sunday. So yeah, so these are like the 3 people that I've been studying and thinking about image wise, because that's what I'm about to do something fashion related with them.
Nice. I also see that you was working with the baby as well.
Oh yeah, the baby. That's a really interesting story because I didn't even know who the baby was in December, and I know I was going to Charlotte for New Year's, so I contacted like all my friends, like who's the hottest artist in North Carolina, because that's who I want to interview. And a lot of people kept sending me the baby. So I did my research and I saw that he was extremely creative, video content wise and with social media. And I just thought he was a character. So I didn't really know what to expect because he's so like colorful personality wise. I didn't know if he was going to be like, very gimmicky when I met him. But when I actually met him, he was like extremely calm and humble and nice and very eager to like get work done and related to his career. So it was very refreshing to meet him because when I met him, it's like he was just so humble, and it's very rare to find a lot of humble artists. A lot of artists have big egos, and he was just like a regular guy. So it was very comfortable, and you know, he was just fun. It was a fun experience, and to see him now, the progression is like, it's mind blowing, because it was just like, I remember when I didn't even know who you were like a couple months ago, and I remember when like I gave him his first interview on The Source, and like Complex used the caption, and everybody started calling him like the emerging star from North Carolina, and I'm just like, oh, that's funny. Like I see like what I like, you know, the title like everywhere, and it's like I know. I mean, I put that because that's what I thought, but then I never, you know, imagined that other major platforms were going to reproduce that, and that was going to be like that was going to follow him. So it's really interesting to see how things you know, roll out, and how fast it can happen overnight, and how quickly, like, you know, and that's all comes from determination, and you know, just to keep going, and he had that in him. So it's not shocking it's really not shocking. It's like, I'm just shocked I didn't know about him before, you know, because he's been doing it for so long, and so many people in North Carolina knew who he was. But it's amazing. Like, I really think it's really dope, his whole journey, his whole process. Like, he's extremely dedicated, and I think he's going to inspire a lot of people.
It's nice. Yeah. So you find the beauty in everyone. That's what you do. All right, so let us know a brief background of this industry that you're a part of.
Well, I'm a part of the fashion and music meshed all together, and it has definitely, I would say, you know, become that. So like, what's the word I'm trying to say? I would say with hip hop, like, I feel like there's been a separation, like, you know, but hip hop has always had the urban appeal, but I think hip hop is just now like really going high fashion, in which rappers are wanting to look like runway models. Because in the past, rappers wanted to look like street dudes, they wanted to wear the street brands. Now you have artists like, you know, Young Thug. But I really think A$AP Rocky was a key ingredient to that. I might be mistaken. There may have been people before him. You know, Kanye West. Thinking about, because Kanye West was really from my era, from you know what I can remember. Kanye West was like one of the major artists who was, you know, really stepping into the high fashion, like discussing high fashion. Because before, you know, it was Rocawear, Fubu, Karl Kani, Mecca, you know, brands like that. But I can't really. Well, you know, if you think about Biggie and the Diddy era and the Versace and all that, and Tupac. So, you know, it has always been around, but I think at this point it's like rappers really want to be the runway models, and I think that came with A$AP Rocky. Like, I don't recall, you know, that before his era, in which rappers wanted to be runway models. But yeah, so back to the background of the industry I'm in. Yeah, so it's the fashion and music. I'm more so within the hip hop. What I'm trying to do is, you know, I want to be a platform for the high fashion hip hop, merging that, where I want to bring the urban hip hop brands to the high fashion world. I want to bring Karl Kani to Vogue. If that is, you know, that's a good description.
I love it. Thank you for that. Who's your role model?
Role model. I think I have like too many, but it's more so, it's like every season I meet someone new that inspires me in some way. So that's why I say too many, because I wouldn't say I look up to a lot of people, but you know, I take advantage of the experiences that I have. So, you know, I may be around someone for years, or I may be around someone for a couple of months. I appreciate all the opportunities that I'm given. Let's see, if I could say like some role models that stand out who've been on my journey since my New York experience, since moving here. I learned a lot from the owner of the Source magazine, Londell McMillan. I definitely learned a lot. I learned how to like really run a business and monetize my creativity through him. And then I have my who I would consider like my older sister, Francoise Blanchette. She's an industry publisher. She's done everything. She's she's very motivating. All she does is motivate me, like to just keep doing more. She has amazing ideas. She's very inspiring. So I would definitely say she's a big influence. And it's like it's hard. I don't want to miss nobody, because I just know so many. I've met so many great people on my journey. I really want to say some more females because I'm definitely inspired by like women in the industry. But one thing about me though is that it's like I don't really pay much attention to a lot of the things going on around me. It's like I get inspiration naturally, like it just happens. It's not like I go out seeking it, but it's like the positions that I put myself in is I find myself to be surrounded by the right people. Like the right people will come around me and inspire me. It's just so many people in this music industry.
But
it is really hard to grasp, but I think I might just have to keep it personal with those two off the top because they were recently, they were like key figures into, my experiences to elevating to the point that I am today. Recently.
All right. So, as a little kid, we have huge imaginations and we used to reenact people that we aspire to be. Mm-hmm. When you were a younger girl, did you naturally do things that you love to do now?
Yeah. So that's why I had to do what I'm doing now because I once I got to high school, I began to go on a stray away from the things that I naturally did growing up, because I was so focused on getting an education and just getting out of the area that I grew up in. So it's like that distracted me from my true talents. Like I really feel like I should have went to art school in high school, but instead I went into a medical program to be a doctor. And it's like I was able to do it. I had great grades, but it just wasn't a passion, and it hit me in college when life started getting real. When I started to think about what am I going to do every day, and then it started to depress me. And then I remembered really what really came natural, really made gave me joy. And as a child, I was always writing music. I used to write songs for my favorite artists. Like I used to write songs for Mariah Carey and Bow Wow. And for somehow in my head, I don't know, I could imagine them performing it. Ja Rule, like those are my favorite artists when I was little. And then I used to create books. I used to just take print paper and fold it up and staple it and draw comic books out. And I actually created a book in first grade that I think won my district. It was like the best book. So I created that, and that was first grade. And then when I was in elementary school, I used to kind of think that I was weird, but my art teacher used to come into class and take me out to have private sessions with her. And it's just like all that stuff was happening, but it wasn't registering. It was just like whatever. Like I used to not take it serious. I used to kind of think I was weird because I used to get taken out of class. So I always could draw. Drawing was like the first, but you know what? Back to people that inspire me. What I missed was my mother, because my mother is the artist. Like she is the true talent. Like even images like this on the background. My mom could paint this on someone's wall. Like she's really amazing, and she's such a strong individual, and she's always supported me no matter what. So that's who I definitely forgot that I want to include in role models, because my mother is one of my biggest, and my grandfather and my grandmother for sure. Like those three together really created me and really made me who I am today. But back to what I was doing as a kid. So yes, I was always drawing, creating books. I had a crazy imagination as a kid. I was always creating little towns and stuff out of Legos and logs. And when I had class projects and we were to draw 2D, I would create a 3D town. Like that's how the type of person I was. And it was just it wasn't like I was trying to be extra. That's just what I wanted to do. I actually hated art class in school because I didn't like the teacher trying to tell me how to draw. That's something I don't like. I feel like art, your talent as an artist is natural. You're supposed to create whatever comes out. I don't think you're supposed to teach someone how to be an artist. Not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of anything forced in the art world. I think it's supposed to just come off of emotions and what's happening in the moment, what's going on. I don't even write music ahead of time. At least I don't like to. Most part, I like to create on spot. Like I just like everything to be natural in the flow. Like even with styling, creative directing, I don't do just anyone. Like I would pass up on project with money if I'm not feeling the project. I really create off of emotions. Yeah, I would definitely say that. But yeah, art has always been number one. When it got to college, I'm in this medical program, and I was still drawing pictures, and I got distracted because it became so boring that I just wanted to draw and write music in class. So when that happened, I'm just like, you know what? I know what I need to do. Like, being an artist is me. It's always been me. I've ignored it or not paid attention to it, but it's always been me. And in order for me to live a happy life, I'm going to have to do what I love. And so that's when I made the transition. It was very dramatic. I had to drop all my classes, pay all that money for that semester. And my advisor was like, are you crazy? Like, your parents is going to kill you. And I'm just like, you know, my mom supports me. This is what I want to do. I'm going to make it happen. And if I'm going to, you know, drop this medical path, I'm going to have to go to New York because it's sophomore year and like I have 2 more years I graduate. So if I make this change, I got to do it now. So it was a lot. It was not the easiest process at all. Like writing St. John's, trying to get extra scholarships, seeing my account balance like crazy. And I'm like, where am I going to get this money from? But everything worked out because I just didn't stop. Like I never gave up. That's one thing I didn't do at any point. Even when everyone was telling me, oh, I don't think you're going to New York, I don't think it's going to work, I'm still writing essays, still calling, you know, financial aid at St. John's, like until, this is going to sound weird, but it got to a point where I woke up at like 3 a.m. and checked my account and all the money was in there. And that's when I was like, wow, well, I guess I'm going. And like everyone, like my cousins and stuff, they was like, oh, I don't know if it's meant to be, like, don't give up. And I'm just like, it's meant to be. Like, and it happened. Like, it really happened. And it's very crazy to reflect on it now because it feels like so yesterday when I went through all of this. But yeah, everything happens for a reason. Like, I went through all that to get here. So that's why I worked so hard when I got here, because I knew where I came from. Yes. And I knew how hard it was.
Who would you like to work with and why?
Who would I like to work with? June Ambrose. You know, my old roommate actually put me onto her. It's like my first roommate, like in New York, she really inspired a lot when it came to introducing me to the fashion side. You know, it's like I knew the direction I wanted to go image wise. She helped a lot with my image development as a music artist. And, you know, I brought her a lot of the brands that I wanted to wear, and she put it together. And she just, like, you know, exposed me to another side of fashion and creativity. So, like, a lot of the things that I'm into now, I know it's because of her. And I'm just very appreciative of that experience, you know, meeting her at school and living with her and learning so much about fashion and just how to do what you want, be like, you know, just to be free, not to be so much concerned with the cultural norms, just to be free, expressive. And June Ambrose, you know, she put me on a June Ambrose as well, and, you know, she did like a lot of the Missy videos, and it's crazy, like, and she's so dope and like free spirited, and I would really love to work with her. Like, yeah, she's someone I want to work with. And let's see who else.
Well, we're gonna tag
Yes.
June Ambrose.
Yes. Okay.
So she can see this.
That would be really dope.
So, being that your agency is called the Creative
House of Creators.
House of Creators.
Yeah.
What is a great advice you have gotten through this journey in order to succeed for your agency?
With my agency, I think a good advice, a good message that I received. I mean, it was a lot of messages that I've been receiving that you know, brought me to the point of creating House of Creators. Like, just traveling and meeting people. A lot of people were saying, yo, once you work for yourself, that's when you're really going to take off. So I kept that in my mind, even though I was afraid at first, or, you know, I really didn't imagine myself being at this point. I didn't plan this. Like, and yeah, one thing that has really helped me is just going with the flow of life, and just believing in myself. But back to the agency point. You know, my last boss at the source told me before I really like left and really did my own thing. He said, you're going to have to find the right people and you have to help them help you. So with that being said, starting off with the agency, I didn't start off with large budgets. And like I had to do a lot of projects out of pocket at first. And, you know, I just made sure that it was beneficial for my whole team so that not only, you know, this was going to help my portfolio, but it was going to help everyone. So that right there is what helped like really build the foundation of House of Creators, because I was able to get a team of people who were like on the same page as me, who were trying to define their portfolio, who were trying to get some big looks. And, you know, we all worked together and made it happen. But it definitely started off with the idea of, you know what, I really want to do this agency. How can I help my team help me get this together? How can I help them, and how could they help me? How could this just be a full beneficial relationship right now so that we can all get to a level where we create this amazing content and then we have these people sending budgets and then we all can eat together.
Nice. I like that. I really enjoy the whole reflection that you have of yourself. How would you like to give back to your community one day?
How I want to get back to my community, I definitely want to get back involved with kids. I used to like work in a lot of different summer camp programs. I love children. I want to find a way to like really talk to kids and find out what they really want to do, because from my experience, it's like I didn't really know exactly what made me happy when I was a child. Like I naturally did the things that made me happy, but as far as like preparing for the future, like I think you have to start young, because you know I'm just thinking like if I went to art school, I feel like I would have been further. But it's like I didn't really know. I was doing what I thought was right, and I think we have to stop teaching people to you know, follow the career path of what your parent may think is right, but what do you love to do? And how can you monetize what you love to do? So I feel like if you start young, like, you know, by the time you graduate high school, you can probably already been owning your business and you can get right into the things. You know, and college isn't for everyone, but college definitely helped me. So yeah, one thing as far as college too, I want to create scholarship funds because college is so expensive, and it may not be for everyone, but there are some people who need it, like myself. And because college definitely developed me socially, it helped me. You know, I found myself in college. The experience was, I don't feel like I would be here today if I didn't go to college. Like I don't at all, because college is when I really got to. I had a lot of moments, you know, being away from your parents, being from home, and you really get to know yourself. And I used to sit there and think, and then I used to sit there and really, you know, I really got to be around myself and realize what made me happy, what brought me joy. Just being alone and not being so influenced by, you know, my parents and what they're saying around me. I really got to find what makes me happy. And so if there's any way that I can like start programs with youth, going to schools and stuff, talking to kids when they're young, so that when they're my age, they're already established.
How old are you?
25.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah. So I want them to already be established. Like I just feel like if I went to art school in high school, like I feel like I would have been a lot further faster, because you know, I don't know, times are changing now. You got kids that are like 19 doing things that I'm doing, and I think that's amazing. And I think that the future should be like that, like where things take off faster, you know.
Yes.
So people have more time to and really enjoy life young and see the world and do everything they want to do young, like instead of everyone expecting you to start doing this in your late 30s and 40s. Like, why can't you start now?
Yeah, but I was checking your style out. You have a really dope style. Tell us who in your family got it like that, because I'm just looking.
Okay.
I'm listening to your questions. I'm
Well,
answers.
I don't. It's so many crazy influences. My mom is a big influence. My mom, she always had like this this coolness about her, like this, I don't know, this very chill swag. Like I always noticed that about my mom, and she dresses. I don't know. My mom is like bipolar with style. She can get real feminine, then she can get real tomboyish. So like really, her style. You know, I really get a lot of my style influences from her. Because I can be, like, I would call myself, like, a tomboy princess. Like, I can get real girly, real princess-like. And I can be really, like, edgy or sporty. Like, so I just pretty much mesh everything all in one. And, you know, once I got to New York, and like I said, my old roommate, who was really into fashion, you know, she really took me to a point where, you know, she was extremely expressive. I used to call her style, like, on acid. Yeah, because it was crazy. It was very experimental, and it was like very, I don't care what people think, in your face, and I'm gonna put the oddest things together and make it look nice. And so, you know, a combination of my mother and my old roommate in that experience, it's like a, you know, I think I've reached, like, really found myself style wise. I think I've got to a point. Yeah, so it's like, it's a lot. And I mean, it's definitely showing me because I do a lot. So it's hard for me to define my style because I base it off of moods of how I'm feeling, what I want to wear, or what I think looks cool. And then just like with everything that I'm doing, I'm involved in a whole lot. I can't even define what it is. I can't even define my role of what I do. I can't even, and then like, especially, it's one thing too with my style, like a lot of events have dress codes. I never dress off of dress codes. I always dress off of how I feel. Like, I'm just that type of person. Like, I just, like, people always ask me, oh, we're going here, what should I wear? And I'm like, you should just be yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm very big on being yourself and doing what feels comfortable for you. Like, I'm very big on just comfortability in general. So that goes down to everything. That's wonderful. Yeah, style, like my style, like one thing I would say about my style though is that I don't like to wear anything that I see anybody else wearing. Like, I make an effort to not wear trends, even down to how I style other rappers. Like, I think one thing that has stood out with House of Creators is that when I style rappers, they don't look like anybody else. And because I think that's a big issue in this music industry is that all these rappers not only sound alike, they look exactly alike. And so when they come to my agency, I give them a defined look so that they're recognized by this. And all I really do is I enhance their already image. Like, I don't make people look like something they're not. And I think that's a you know, a big problem today with music. Is like everyone is trying to create this certain image, and they're all trying to follow this same strategy. And that is when art gets boring, because it's like I don't want to see the same art. I don't even want to hear the same art. Like, I'm tired of the same sounding stuff. I'm tired of the same looks, and I don't understand how other people aren't tired of it. But because a lot of people are making money off of following the same strategy, but it's, to me, taken away from the essence of true art. Yes. So defining my image is different and very true to self.
Okay. All right. So here on the New York Dose, you ride the train with us, not physically, but, you know, metaphorically. Yeah. How you feel about the MTA, New York? Like, when you moved in?
When I first moved to New York, I thought it was extremely confusing. But then when I got Google Maps, and it became so easy. And then, you know, over the course of time living here, I realized it's faster to get on the train than to take a cab.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. All right, so here we're going to ride the train with us. But you went to college. Have you ever played, do you drink? Did you drink in college?
Yeah, I did a lot of drinking in college.
Do you remember the drinking games? Do you remember Kings?
You know what? No, but I remember this game that we see who can take the most shots.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But I heard Kings, but I never knew how to really play cards.
Well, it's not really playing cards, but it kind of correlates with that. So it's like each card means something, right? And you drink. But here on the New York Dose, we like to pertain it to you and your life and like riding the train. So we're going to start with the 2 train, and this is 2 for you. And this is anyone you want to put on blast. Anyone that fucked up in your life recently, and you want to put them on blast right here on the New York Dose. You don't have to say names.
Okay. I mean, listen. I can't just point out one person because a lot of people have been acting crazy since 2017.
Yeah.
I had to leave a lot of people in 2017. No cap. No, for real though. I mean, I think with me, it's just like I tend to get so distracted by my business, I can neglect the personal problems I may have with people. And it's more so a thing is that I don't like to put energy into negativity. And I'm just like, can we just keep living and move on? Like, I don't want to backtrack. A lot of people get stuck in, you know, and a lot of people have secret problems with you and they won't express it. So it's like when I can feel people energy and I can see how they moving, and I've already been calculating what the person's been doing wrong. And when I started getting understanding that it's something that's not worth dealing with, I just move on. And I have moved on from a lot of people. So a lot of people have taken advantage of my kindness, and they just gonna have to miss it because I really don't have time. So I can't call people out, but a lot of people know that they have took advantage of my kindness and the fact that I'm so focused that I'm not paying attention to all of the petty stuff that they're doing on the side because it's not bringing me down. So they think it's not affecting me, but it was, you know, it's getting to me mentally because it's heartbreaking. But you just have to move on. And I stay so busy, like it's like whatever. But I mean, I'm not missing nobody, but a lot of people missing me.
Let them know.
Snap on them.
All right, let's transfer over to the 3 training. This is 3 for me, which is for you. Any epiphany you had about yourself lately?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like 23 to now, it's just been a big epiphany about how I used to really neglect myself because I'm on such a like you know, one track mindset, so focused that I like back to what I was just recently talking about. Like I'm so distracted with my business. I wasn't realizing a lot of the bad people around me who were trying to attach themselves to me. You know, just because it's not like I said, they weren't fully affecting me, but I could have been in a better space mentally, and I could have been more focused if certain people weren't around me. And that's what I had to wake up and realize: who are the type of people I'm hanging out with? Even though I consider a lot of people, friendship. I mean, business, friendships, social relationships. That's what I would say, social relationships. But you can't have social relationships with everybody because everyone's energy impacts you. And no matter how focused you are, over time, it's going to start wearing you down. And that's an epiphany I've had recently, I would say, in the past 2-3 years now. It's been a long journey. Like waking up and realizing, yo, this person moves this type of way, but why do I continue to hang out with them in public? Like I actually don't have to hang out with you. Like, you know, I had to start thinking that. Like, and in a lot of situations too, where I would confuse people's talents and I would totally ignore their personality. But if they produce a certain type of quality of work, I would let them pass, and that's wrong too, because it's not fair to myself, because it's like I'm talented and I'm also a good person. Why can't you be the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's transfer over to the 5 train. This is 5 for guys. Any PSA you have to the men out there?
I think in this era, a lot of dudes really need to find themselves, and I think that's the step that they're skipping, because a lot of them don't know themselves and they're looking for women to help them find themselves, and they're not really offering you know, a mutual beneficial situation. I mean, just from my encounters, and it might be what I'm attracting, which I don't know why, but a lot of dudes want to be built up. They want a mom, and I'm just not that. So I think that just people in general, though, people need to take time to get to know themselves. I just see like females and males, like a lot of people just jump to relationships because they don't want to be alone. But I don't think you can be with anybody if you don't know yourself, because you don't need. I mean, a lot of people just want to do stuff together because it's easier for them, but I don't know. I really think people have got to take time to get to know themselves one-on-one. And they need to know themselves better than anyone else around them. I don't know why people want, oh, I want this person knows me better than I know myself. That's not cute. Like, that's not cute. That is not cute. Like, I'm good.
All right, let's transfer over to the 6th train, and this is 6 for chicks. Any PSA you have for the queens, the ladies out there?
Okay, it's the same thing because the girls are the same way.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same exact thing. Like, everyone needs to take time to get to know themselves. I mean, once you realize that, everything is gonna flow. Like, once you, and you know, I've always had an understanding of myself, but you know, college really gave me the wake up call where I had to really talk to myself and think about myself, because I was on like this one track mind. I got to get this education, blah blah blah, and just ignoring myself, like my actual self. So you know, being around a lot of people, being around a lot of friend groups, people thought they knew me more than I knew myself. So that's why I had to step back and I had to hold on, let me get to know myself, because y'all telling me stuff that I haven't even paid attention to about myself. And that's the type of person I am. Instead of me going through this with all these people, I stepped back and I played dolo role. I mean, was it solo? Maybe I should say solo. So I played solo. I became my best friend, and I really think, you know, that is another thing of how I became who I am today, because I'm not so influenced to be around certain people and influence. Because especially when you're first going to college, I know for me, I was influenced by a lot. I was trying to figure it out, but I really wasn't thinking, what do I really like? So when I took the moment to get to know myself, that's when I realized, hey, I don't want to do this medical stuff. I'm actually a music artist. And also, to taking the time to get to know myself, it inspired me to put all my energy into going to New York, like elevating. You know, I just think finding yourself and doing and figuring out, because it's just so many people out here who tell me like, oh, it's dope what you do. I wish I knew what I wanted to do. And it's like, that's probably because you probably been in relationships and you didn't have all these friend circles, and you was in bouncing off of everybody's energy, and you never got to take time and get to know, who are you? Like, put yourself in the center and figure out what exactly you want. You over here trying to maintain your boyfriend and he don't know himself. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into that, because then people gonna know I'm talking about them. But you know, you can't figure out somebody else and try to figure out yourself at the same time. That's just a lie, especially when you're in love with people. And you know, when you're in love with somebody, I feel like you start becoming more interested in them than your own self. So you're constantly trying to figure them out, and they don't know themselves, blah blah. So yeah, so back to boys and girls, please know yourself, please learn yourself, please love yourself, please take time to enjoy yourself. Yeah.
All right, and the last train is the L train. We don't like to say L's, we like to say lessons. Any lesson, a valuable lesson you learned recently?
Yeah, definitely. Like, this goes back, and like I said, 23, 25, these years have been very informative. Lessons I learned is one lesson I would say, communication is a major part of life. Like, you got to know how to communicate with people, and if you want to maintain certain friendships, relationship, you have got to communicate. Because I used to be the type of person that is see something I don't like and I don't say nothing, and then that just gets buried up inside of me, and then it keeps continuing and continuing and continuing, and I get to a point where it's like I don't want to even be around certain people anymore. But it's like a lot of people don't know that they do certain things because nobody tells them. So, but it's like, it's all about what you have time for, because you know, these days I don't have time to tell people no more. But back then I had time because I stayed around them and I just ignored it. So it's like, all that time I stayed around them and ignoring it, I should have just said something. Now it's to a point where I can't even be around them no more because I'm just disgusted. And it's like, I don't even like what you are. But I mean, but communication is key though, because like now I'm at this stage where I'm like, okay, I guess it's time for me to be in a relationship. You know, now that I'm about to, you know, a couple years from 30, like, but it's like, you know, I don't know. I'm like, again, I go with the flow, but if I do find a partner that I want to take serious, but I don't want to right now. But if I do, like, I'm going to make sure that I can communicate, because, you know, people can't read your mind. Mm-hmm. At least I don't know people. Maybe some people out there. But that's another story. But, yeah, I just learned communication is important. That's just with business, you know, personal life. personal life, family, communication with yourself is most important. You know, communication to positive energies, whatever you believe in. Like, you know, just gotta be open to communicating, and also just have an understanding perspective that everyone wasn't raised like you. Everyone hasn't been through everything you go through. Like, you know, everyone can't fully relate to what you've been through, but once you grow, you start to, you know, understand more. And once you understand what happened to a person, you understand why they act a certain way, and then you can possibly communicate and, you know, hold on to certain relationships. And sometimes you just can't, but you got to communicate if you can't. Yeah.
I like that. So this brings us to the ending of our interview, and let us know where we can check out all of your social media handles so people can check out this wonderful person that you are.
Okay, so me on Twitter, I'm underscore at Venus. Well, it's at underscore Venus Rose. And Instagram is Venus Rose. Everything else is pretty much Venus Rose. That's VENUSROSE. Just, you know, Venus Rose. And House of Creators is my agency. That's HAUSOFCREATORS. How you spell that? That's House of Creators on everything. HouseOfCreators.com, House of Creators Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. YouTube, you know, all that's together.
And one last thing, just really quickly, someone who wants to do exactly what you do, what is some advice you could give to them?
Only advice I can give is you just have to stay motivated and determined. Like, you cannot give up, because this type of field I'm in, it has its ups and downs. And being your own, you know, owning your own business has ups and downs. You may experience periods where you may not make money for weeks to months. But I think too, one thing, starting your own business, you need to like work with the company, learn how to do the company. You need to save a certain amount of money, like save up enough to pay your rent for a whole year. So when those months come where you may not get paid, you can still pay your rent and you can be figuring it out. But you can't give up, because when those months come, them dry months come, you quit, then it's over. Like, you have to keep every day finding a way, like every single day, because you know, when you don't come from wealth or like trust funds and stuff like that, all you have is you, and your mind and your spirit is the strongest things to keep you going. You have to stay positive, you have to stay hungry, and you have to stay inspired to do more. And you always have to stay inspired by everything, every experience. If you're going to be an artist, you got to live that art. You got to live it. Like, everywhere you go and think and do and sleep is art. You got to, everything you look at, you got to see the art in it. Some way, somehow, you have to always find inspiration. You got to stay inspired. You've got to stay inspired. And that's the key, is to stay inspired. You stay inspired from being determined. You stay inspired. You create, you stay inspired. You never giving up. You just got to be inspired to always do more and keep going. You got to be inspired to see this beautiful ending. And I don't even want to say the ending, because I want, you know, things to continue. Even when I'm gone, I want, you know, someone, or, you know, hopefully my children, to continue it. And in order for this dream to continue, is, you know, inspiration, being inspired to continue, being inspired to see, you know, how big this vision could become. Like, this vision has to continue to grow.
Amazing. Thank you.